Good morning, Miss Crabtree.
Sit down! We're running late!
Damn it, he's still there. Don't worry about him. No, dude, if something happens to him, my parents are gonna blame me.
Sit down back there! Ah!
Yeah, whatever, you fat bitch.
What did you say?
I said I have a bad itch.
Oh!
Oh my God! Visitors! Ike! Stop the bus! Miss Crabtree, you have to stop this bus!
Do you want an office referral?
No!
Then sit down!
But I...
Ah!
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 Cartman, are those the same visitors you saw? Get up, you guys, it's not working. We have to do something! Well, we can't do anything for now. That fat bitch won't let us.
What did you say?
I said that rabbits eat lettuce.
Oh. Well, yes, they certainly do.
What am I gonna do? My little brother's been abducted by aliens. You farted. Somebody's baking brownies.
Hello, 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 all of my fabulous, beautiful people, and how are you all doing today? I hope that you're all very, very, very well, and that you all had a very, very lovely, lovely weekend. We had a long weekend. It was family day here yesterday. One of the only good things that Justin Trudeau ever did. So we were celebrating that. And, the last couple weeks has been crazy. There have been Chinese balloon sightings. There have been UFO sightings. Our prime minister is still fucking nuts. Just a lot of things going on. So I think that today we have to talk about that. Hello, Joe. Good to see you, my friend. I hope that you are doing very well. Hello, Shaw. I hope that I did not end your stream, but thank you for being here. So, of course, I want to talk about the aliens, the UFO sightings here in Canada and what's been going on. For those who know me, you know that I am very, very science-based and evidence-based. And until you show me a real alien, I am probably not going to say that they are real. And no, I'm not talking about the alien surgery video. Stop sending that to me. Okay? Don't send that to me anymore. That doesn't prove anything. But the last week especially has been very, very busy. And I've been hearing about a lot of Canada UFO sightings since just before Valentine's Day. And then upon my research, I found out that this has been going on since the end of January. So without further ado, let's just get right into it. So apparently there was a whole thing where there were two white lights that were moving in a circular pattern. And this was reported over Yellowknife. And that was on January 29th. There is an entire call of this. I really want to play it, but I don't know if I'm going to end up with this.
Tower, it's Arctic 5.
Part is at the end. So
The next few minutes we'll let you know.
you guys can hear that, right?
Okay, 844 Heavy, Edmonton Center, good evening, identified. Arctic 5071, Yellowknife Radio, are you still there? Arctic 5071. Do you know what color were the lights? White. Roger, thanks. We're not crazy.
I'm not
Yeah, we
crazy.
believe you.
I'm not crazy, he says. So yeah, that was the part I wanted you to hear. That was the important part, is that he actually says in it, like, I see these lights, and I'm not crazy. I swear to God. So they thought it was two planes at first, I guess, and then it turned out that they couldn't really find out what it was. So they were kind of just called a UFO at the time. They did a whole like air traffic controller radio thing. They have the entire thing set out here where they talk about this. And basically, they decided that this was not really a threat, if you will, for the skies, I guess. They're not a risk to any of the planes that were in the air. So whatever. They were just going to meet and then talk about it. Now, based in the Ottawa suburb Canada, which is not that far from me, not that close, but not that far, Canadian North services multiple destinations across northern Canada. As the flight got closer to Yellowknife, the Canadian North crew described seeing the lights moving around in a circular pattern, well above them, approximately 20 kilometers northwest of the airport. And like I said, I think that they thought at first it was just some planes, and then the lights looked a little bit off. So they were like, oh my God, what's going on here? Joe says you should not drink before flying. That's probably a good idea before handling any vehicles of any kind. So, the civilian air traffic control in Canada is operated by the private company NAV Canada. According to NAV Canada aviation guidelines, the communication instructions for reporting vital intelligence sightings should be made immediately upon a vital intelligence sighting of any airborne and ground object or activities that appear to be hostile, suspicious, unidentified, or engaged in possible illegal smuggling activity. NAV Canada even puts unidentified flying objects at the front of a list of vital intelligence sightings. Examples, which also include submarines or surface warships identified as being non Canadian or non American, because of course they will also get a hold of you guys in the US and be like, hey, do you guys have any weird planes that are supposed to be circulating around over here? Because we don't. Is it you guys? The air traffic controller comes back on the radio again to ask what color the lights are. And he says white, as you heard. And then they said, thanks. And then the crew member is literally like, we're not crazy. And they had to be like, yeah, no, we believe that it's there. We believe you. Don't worry. So the incident was first reported by Yellowknife-based Cabin Radio. The extended audio was taken from liveatc.net, a website that streams air traffic control radio. But it has been taken over by CTV News, and that's why I am not sure if I could play the whole thing without getting a strike, but I'm glad that I was able to play the end. Flying Canada Club where it's needed. Air Canada. That's what I always take. Anyway, the incident also appears in a pair of reports published on Transport Canada's online aviation incident database on February 10th and February 14th, with data provided by NAV Canada. Transport Canada is the federal government's transportation department, covering everything from bird strikes to unruly passengers. Transport Canada's database is also peppered with nearly three decades of strange sightings from police officers, soldiers, air traffic controllers, and pilots on medical, military, cargo, and passenger flights operated by WestJet, Air Canada Express, Porter Airlines, Delta, and more. In 2022 alone, CTVnews.ca discovered 11 reports like these from pilots flying for airlines such as Air Canada, WestJet, Virgin Atlantic, United, and KLM. That one I'm not really familiar with. One of the most recent comes from February 7th, 2023. Hold that. When a cargo flight from Miami to Amsterdam observed unusual lights moving erratically 40,000 feet to 50,000 feet while flying near Nova Scotia. So if you thought it was only the southern states that sees UFOs, you were wrong. Transport Canada cautions that these reports contain preliminary, unconfirmed data which could be subject to change. A spokesperson from Transport Canada previously told CTV News that service reports have no potential for regulatory enforcement and often fall outside the department's mandate. Reports of identified objects can rarely be followed up on as they are, as the title implies, identified, they said. So basically, they are saying that there are all kinds of notifications that go to NORAD linked Royal Canadian Air Force Squadron. At the time, there was not a response to this case, and the Canadian military routinely states that it, now I feel like this part's important, I'm just saying, that it does not typically investigate sightings of unknown or unexplained phenomena outside the context of investigating credible threats, potential threats, or potential distress in the case of search and rescue. So I'm not sure if like UFO aliens would fall into that. I'm not sure. Before the downing of the 3 unidentified objects, which we will get to earlier this month, at least 4 cases appear to have met that criteria since 2016. And then they say that in the US, both the Pentagon and NASA are currently studying what they call UAP, which is short for unidentified aerial or anomalous, Jesus fucking Christ, I cannot talk today, phenomena, a term that is replacing UFO and unidentified flying object, which is UFO, in official circles. So at this time, they did not reply for a comment. However, that was several days ago, and we do appear to have a little bit of an update. Hello, Ken. Good to see you. So my whole thing is that they are stating that UFOs or possibly some kind of unidentified object were seen and that they did have to shoot something down from the sky. So that's about where we are now. And that was the information that we had, let's say, at the very beginning of February, if you will. Transport Canada doesn't care about UFOs. No, no. They unfortunately do not seem to care at all. So they had shot down something in Yukon. And we need to talk about that now because, again, this is all very important. We need to know all about the sightings because maybe aliens are real. Maybe I am wrong. Do I personally believe in aliens, not in how we see them? If they are real, I do not believe that they are how we see them, nor do I believe that they would give a crap about us. We are probably the most unintelligent species in all the world, and I would like to know why they would want to come here. But as of Valentine's Day, which of course February 14th, they were saying that recovery efforts were currently underway in the Yukon and Ontario for debris from a pair of unidentified objects that were shot down by US fighter jets on Saturday and Sunday. Described as cylindrical, the first object was shot down over central Yukon on February 11th. Reportedly octagonal, the second was brought down on February 12th over Lake Huron, which sits between Michigan and Ontario. They join another mysterious object as well as a much larger suspected Chinese surveillance balloon that were shot down over the US on February 10th and February 4th, respectively. Few details have emerged about the 3 smaller objects. They can't definitively say whether they are Chinese. We don't know for certain whether they're balloons or another type of object. So there's just a great deal of mystery surrounding this right now. The US is going to get us all blown up by China. Vincent Rigby, former National Security and Intelligence Advisor to Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, our favorite person, that was a joke. I hate him. Told CTV's Power Play with Vassie, whatever kind of name that is. Sorry, I'm a bitch. Capellos on Monday. Until they get this information and they see the wreckage, it's going to be very, very difficult to pull the pieces together. In Canada, the recovery efforts are being coordinated by Public Safety Canada and led by the RCMP. For those that don't know, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, the guys that you guys think wear funny hats and just ride around on horses all day, which is not true at all. They're literally just like your FBI, but here in Canada. I'm just saying. Uh, those guys, with assistance from the Canadian Armed Forces in the Yukon and the Canadian Coast Guard in Ontario. NORAD, the U.S. Coast Guard, the FBI, the U.S. military, and others are also participating in the effort. So as you can see, this is some pretty serious shit. And apparently there are some people that are not really sure if this was handled correctly because our Trudeau shot everything down along with the Americans. They were like, let's just shoot everything down from the sky. And of course, as always, someone's going to have an issue. I thought the RCMP wrote on moose. See, you're right. It's not horses at all. It is moose. So there has been a little bit of a thing today, and yes, it was today that it kind of came out that people are very, very upset with how this has been handled by Justin Trudeau. And I was like, that's interesting to me because if these are from China, if there's some kind of security threat to our country or to the US, we should probably not want them to be around. We should probably shoot them down. I don't know. Again, maybe I'm a bitch. I'm just saying. But I personally don't know if I'm that upset about it. So let's research further, if you will, and see if we should be. So this here is in Ottawa, okay, and they're saying that there was a potential national security threats, which were posed by these unidentified objects. They were recently shot out of the sky over North America, overinflated. Now, was this okay? Apparently, for the last week straight, at least, everybody has been arguing over this here. Is it okay? Was it handled properly? Are we going to be handling this like this in future, if you will? He wants to prove he isn't a pussy. Well, he should act more like his damn dad then. I'm a Floridian. Shooting weird things out of the sky is just a normal Tuesday with enough Bud Light. We like Canadian beer here. So, they are literally in a whole political debate, and they have been. Because I don't think they've really figured this out yet, nor have they fully figured out what it is, it seems like. It's all a little bit up in the air. They do know for sure that there was a Chinese balloon that was shot down by the US. It was the US that did that, not us. And they know that we have seen some weird objects that we have now shot down over Yukon and apparently near Canada and other places close to me, which I'm very excited about. Everything seems to be popping off here in Ontario or Yukon, and then apparently also BC, which we'll get into that after we take a little break and have a little bit of fun at the end of this. So yeah, everybody seems really mad over this. And like I said, I am unsure if there should even be a debate over this because you need to think of your country and the safety of your country and other people's countries. I think us in the US should just shoot everything down from the sky. I'm just half joking, but not really. So, again, last Tuesday, American security officials said the objects might be benign, and Prime Minister Justin Trudeau focused on the threat to civilian planes. Which, again, you guys heard the recording. I don't know if the guy was threatened as much as he was, like, really confused, because he was in a civilian plane flying one when he saw the lights and called it in, all like, what are these strange lights we're seeing? Do we have planes? Does the US have planes? We got a bunch of white lights. Should I be worried? It did seem like he was like threatened. I'm just throwing that out there. I'm trying to be as fair as I can on all sides here. Trudeau had first described the decision to order one of the objects, which was floating over Yukon, which I believe was the first one, to be shot down over the weekend as a serious situation that involved the need to defend Canada's territorial sovereignty. So basically, we thought we were going to war. But on Tuesday, he framed it more directly. What is very clear is they were a threat to civilian travel, to commercial airliners. He told reporters on his way into the Liberal cabinet meeting. Do we need to have a Liberal cabinet meeting? I think they're all in the closet, aren't they? That's why the decision was to take them down. So, like I said, they kind of said this is a threat to commercial airliners, civilians. So we take them down. In the U.S., the White House was peppered with questions about why President Joe Biden hasn't spoken directly to the public about the incidents and whether the seriousness of shooting down objects over North American airspace ought not to warrant a national address. I'm not sure. I think it kind of does. I feel like they when something like that happens, you do have to come out and be like, this is what happened. Maybe that's just me. Tell me what you think. White House spokesperson Karine Jean-Pierre, I don't know, I'm French, is that how you say that? Said Biden is regularly being briefed by national security advisors and is taking the matter seriously. They're like, we have to figure out what he's going to say, the lie he's going to tell about this before we do it, you know. We do want to make sure the American people understand there is no need to panic, she said. You know, we're just shooting things out of the sky. Don't panic, guys. It's all good. It's all good. The Floridian Air Force. That's just everybody on a Tuesday afternoon, Shaw said. How do I get some firepower to you in Canada? Shaw's like, how do we smuggle guns to Canada from the U.S.? They use OP to program the teleprompter on passive. Yeah, that must be the issue, you see. Don't use on passive to do anything. That will not get the guns to me. We do want to make sure the American people understand there is no need to panic. That makes me laugh. They say now. After they're like, we're shooting things down from the sky. And we have a Chinese balloon just randomly floating over us. You know, just small things. The president took this action because the objects were flying at lower elevation and they were in civilian airspace. Okay, yes, we got that. Those questions came in the wake of U.S. senators receiving a classified briefing about the incidents, with some emerging to demand more transparency from the administration, and others saying what they heard suggested there was never any actual threat. So again, mixed messages, I guess. I'm confident this wasn't an attack on the country. Senator Lindsey Graham told reporters after the briefing. Fears over a potentially dangerous incursion into North American airspace began earlier this month when the U.S. tracked and ultimately shot down a Chinese spy balloon. And it's funny what's happened ever since this Chinese spy balloon has been spotted. UFO sightings have just skyrocketed all over the place. After that, military officials began tweaking, not with drugs, they were tweaking the radar used to detect airborne objects and spotted 3 additional aircraft. One shot down over Alaska last Friday, a second over Yukon on Saturday, and a third over Lake Huron on Sunday, which is, again, near Ottawa. The White House and Canadian officials had already been drawing distinctions between the Chinese balloon and the other 3 objects, which they have yet to identify, saying their size and maneuverability paled in comparison. All 3 were also flying at much lower altitudes. You know? I mean, with all the alien abductions, we're kind of paranoid when we see weird shit in the sky. Plus, shooting down a UFO puts points on our Florida card towards free Bud Light. That would be so cool if that was a thing. If Red is here, I can't see Red. And I like totally. Hello. Yes, I cannot see red. I'm not sure why. I just checked again, and I cannot see red. We will have to work this out in the past. Troll YouTube trolls. Hi. I am an ex-YouTube troll. Don't troll me. I'm nice. So why did the balloon make it all the way to just north of Alaska? I smell BS. I think everything around here is BS. I'm a very big skeptic. Flat Earth experiment went wrong. That was it. That was, of course, it. But Red, we will talk on Discord, and we'll figure out why I cannot see you. It makes me very sad. So they say here that they were drawing distinctions, like the White House and our Canadian officials have been drawing distinctions between the Chinese balloon and the other three objects, which I think, again, is kind of strange. And basically, it's just because all three were flying at the lower altitudes and they were all kind of shaped weird. It sounds like one was an octagon, one was a pentagon, one was a circle. You know what I mean? Like they described them all differently, but apparently the size and how they moved and where they were flying was the same. So they must all be connected and probably to the Chinese balloon. Again, not so sure I agree, but whatever. So, last Tuesday, White House National Security spokesman John Kirby drew a cleaner line, apparently. The intelligence community is considering as a leading explanation that these could just be balloons tied to some commercial or benign purpose, he told reporters. Okay, what MLM Hun bot decided to start putting balloons up in the fucking air, huh? Who was doing this? We must have some Hun bots that are like, I know it would be really great. It's on passive, Joe. It's on passive. They're like, we took over the Alfalfa train station. Now we will take over the whole sky. And now they're making our country threats and stuff, and our governments are all flipping out. Or I guess not flipping out, because apparently they're just kind of like, I don't know, they're just kind of a balloon, probably related to some commercial thing. Kirby said there was no information that pointed to the objects being part of China's spy balloon program, which is an interesting thing. Nor was it likely the objects were used for intelligence collection, because there isn't much intelligence around Ottawa. I can make fun of myself, okay? That being said, no country or private company has come forward to claim any of the objects. Again, I, if it was on passive, I feel like Ash would have been all over that. So I must be wrong. Canadian officials have continued to stress that without having retrieved the wreckage of the three objects, it is impossible to conclude what they were or what they were for. Still, Public Safety Minister Marco Mendicino was asked by reporters Tuesday whether the fact the government's high-level incident response group wasn't convened in response to the incident in Yukon should be taken to mean there wasn't actually a national security risk. And now, see, this is kind of something that could get them in trouble if they shot it down and it wasn't actually a national security risk or even a security risk at all. Then Trudeau and Biden could be in some trouble for shooting them down. I'm just saying that's how it works. I don't make the rules. I just talk about them on streams. So I guess they called that a fair question, but noted that Trudeau and Biden did speak directly and swift action was taken in response to the presence of object again. But if there was, it turns out there was no risk. I'm just saying. That's the point of the North American Aerospace Defense Command, NORAD, he said, and will continue to use every tool in our arsenal to protect Canadians both in the air, the land, the sea, the sky, and the whole wide universe. Sorry, I got a little carried away there. Whether a similar craft should be shot down in the future is under review, at least in the US. Here in Canada, we're like, shoot them down! Apparently, we are more trigger happy for once than the U.S. is. I don't know what's going on, but that's the thing. Who uses balloons anymore? I don't know. They're okay for birthday parties. I mean, I don't like clouds, but I hear that clouds could make some cool balloon animals with them. So yes, I find it interesting that the US is like, well, we're not really sure if we're gonna like do this in future. And Canada's like, oh yeah, no, we're shooting things down in the sky. Yeah, no, anything tries to fly over Ottawa again, over Lake Huron, pew pew, it's going down, okay? It's going down. So they're saying that the White House is assembling an interagency team to figure out protocols on how to move forward if and when this happens again. Jean Pierre told reporters, with more details expected later this week. And the details are that it seems like they are planning on putting that together so far, which I find a little bit funny because I was kind of like, oh, okay, well, again, the US seems to be less worried about, shooting things down from the sky than we are for once in our lives. All right, I need to go and grab a quick little drink because then I have a little bit of fun. Because I want to talk about how, especially here in Canada, since I am Canadian, I am going to be talking mainly from a Canadian viewpoint. Although I do give a lot of the US news as well with this as we go along because, we're very much connected in this. But there has actually been a huge uptick in reports of Canadians claiming that they see unidentified flying objects. And it seems to have begun with this whole Chinese balloon thing. And upon my research into that, I found out that actually for the last year, so since about early 2022, there have been a lot more sightings of UFOs here in Canada than it seems ever before. And I think that that's very interesting news, and I really want to talk about it. So I'm going to go and grab myself a quick drink, use the little girl's room because I have the bladder of a 36-year-old mom, because that's what I am. And you guys are going to have some fun, and you're going to watch a little dancing alien. He's very cute. I hope that you enjoy him. And I'll be back in a couple moments. Feel free to run to the bathroom yourself. You won't want to miss this because we are talking about some of these actual sightings, because that's the fun stuff. You guys don't want to just hear me ramble on and on and on about the Chinese versus the US and Canada versus these Chinese balloons and stuff. We want to talk about our aliens fucking real and our people seeing them more. Right? Right? All right. Dancing alien.
Bienvenidos a la cripta. Dame tu cosita. Dame tu cosita. Ay, dame tu cosita. Dame tu cosita. Ay, dame tu cosita. Dame tu cosita. Ay, dame tu cosita. Muévete para aquí, muévete para allá. Dame tu cosita. Ay, toma. Cosita. Cosita. Dame tu cosita. Ay, toma. Cosita. Dame tu cosita. Ay, toma. Cosita. Cosita. Dame tu cosita. Ay, toma. Cosita.
Dámela bien rica. Vámonos para acá para la esquinita. Ok. Dámela que está bien bonita. Mamacita. Dámela pa' aquí, dame pa' llevar. A mí me gusta como tú lo meneas. Muévete ese bam bam y grita.
Bienvenidos a la cripta. Dame tu cosita. Dame tu cosita. Ay, dame tu cosita. Dame tu cosita. Ay, dame tu cosita. Dame tu cosita. Ay, dame tu cosita. Muévete para aquí, muévete para allá. Dame tu cosita. Ay, toma. Cosita. Cosita. Dame tu cosita. Ay, toma. Cosita. Dame tu cosita. Ay, toma. Cosita. Cosita. Dame tu cosita. Ay, toma. Cosita.
Wow, baby. Tú me tienes como loco, my lady. Cuando tú lo mueves, tú me pones crazy. Así que mueve ese bam bam, baby. Ok, dámela pa' vaquita me va a llevar. A mí me gusta como tú lo meneas. Muévete ese pam pam y grita.
Bienvenidos a la cripta. Dame tu cosita, dame tu cosita, ay, dame tu cosita, dame tu cosita, ay, dame tu cosita, dame tu cosita, ay, dame tu cosita,
Muévete para aquí, muévete para allá.
dame tu cosita, ay, toma, cosita, cosita, dame tu cosita, ay, toma, cosita, dame tu cosita, ay, toma. Dame tu cosita, ay, toma, dame tu cosita.
Not doing that privacy claim today. I was trying to leave it. It wouldn't let me, I promise. Although I will have to say, I never did get a copyright for Stan. I will say that. Anyway. I stole Shanny's. Do you know what? We don't even have Delta 8 here in Canada. Like, I had no clue what it was when they started. I was like, what is. I had to ask everyone. I was like, what is Delta 8? Like, I don't even know what that is. Same with like Section 8. I was like, what's that? I didn't know what that was either. So, we have actually, there are people that are actually called UFOlogists. And they are people that study ufology, UFOs, their sightings. Are aliens real? Are UFOs all from aliens or are they other things? And you know, things of that nature. So I think that it's interesting that since the US downed that Chinese balloon, we have been seeing apparently a lot more sightings. And this is kind of what I often see happens with something like this is one person sees it, then somebody else sees it, then somebody else sees it. And I don't know if they're all just seeing it or if they all just think they're seeing it. I tend to think that a lot of times people claim that they're seeing these things for attention. But again, you decide for yourself. I am just here to give the information and my own opinion and then tell you to please research everything, all different sides, before you make a choice. It is called critical thinking. We are losing it in our world today. I am trying to bring it back. Bring it back. Okay? Don't just believe what you read and what you see or what I tell you. Take it all in and then go and make your own decision, all for yourself, based on what you find as well. Go search. Just don't do confirmation bias research. I have a video coming up on that soon. I have a lot of videos on a lot of things coming up soon that I need to edit. I'm getting there, I promise. So, yeah, you know, just keep that in mind as we go through this. Because they're literally saying that ever since the U.S. fighter jets shot down 3 separate objects over that last weekend, we had like the Canada was, you know, everything going on over the last couple of weeks, we are seeing an uptick in reported sightings of these UFOs. Chris Rutowski with ufology research in Winnipeg has been collecting and analyzing Canadian data on unidentified flying objects or unidentified aerial phenomena, as it's more recently being referred to as, for nearly 35 years. So we're going to call it UAPs instead of UFOs. That's going to take me a really long time to get used to. That's going to be like not saying the R word. Okay, I don't know if I'm going to be able to promise that right away. Following the US and Canadian government's unprecedented decision to take action against the objects, Rutowski has received a number of sighting descriptions, including one on an Ontario highway near Cambridge, where someone said they saw a black rectangle move across the highway. It was the Illuminati. People are keeping a closer eye to the skies. A closer eye to the sky! And thankfully are reporting them so that we can get some data on what people are seeing, said Rotowski. Is probably one of the craziest dudes ever. I need to do a whole deep dive on that dude alone. Let me know if you want some deep dives on some of these UFOologists, if you will. Reported sightings of unidentified flying object, which we're not calling them anymore. Did you just forget their global news? I'm just saying. Reached an all-time high in Canada in the 2010s, but have been on a steady decline since then until just now. Wow. Isn't that great? UFOlogy Research's latest study released earlier this month, which, if you're wondering, when was this released? February 16th. This one was released on February 16th. So when they say earlier this month, they actually mean um, like literally since fucking the beginning of February. And that suggests there were 768 UFO sightings in the country last year, a slight increase of about 6% from the previous year. Rutowski found one person in Quebec reported nearly 40 separate sightings, which accounted for the higher number. And I'm wondering if this one person in Quebec is okay. Like, are you going to be okay, sweetheart? Are you going to be okay? Please just go and get some help. I think you might be seeing things. I'm going to say one person sees something 40 times. Like, that's what we call schizophrenia, sweetheart. I'm just throwing that out there. The number of reported sightings in Canada last year was the fourth lowest over the past 20 years. Last year, the study said these numbers likely don't show the full picture as individuals are reluctant to report sightings out of fear of being ridiculed or concern for their reputation. But Rutowski stresses times have changed in the field. While the mere mention of the term UFO used to conjure images of alien invasions, tin hat wearing conspiracists, and pop culture extraterrestrial icons, Alf and E.T. Alf was a fucking alien? Research around the phenomena has evolved in government and academic circles. Canadians are in good company if they believe they've seen a UFO, as polls conducted suggest that 10% of people in the country believe that they've seen a UFO in the sky. So that means that about 10% of people in our country could possibly be insane, or they have seen aliens, or like Joe says, they're all just nut jobs, spade pyramid, exactly. I'm just saying, throwing that out there again. When a person reports seeing a UFO, whether you're a pilot or just an average person on the street, you may be seeing something that is quite significant and potentially of value to researchers, he added. Chris Stiles said it's not uncommon to see an increase in reports when events like this happen. See, and this is where I am like kind of sitting on, right? But cautious, it doesn't mean there is an increase in the number of flying objects, only that more people are paying attention. And for me, I think more people are going insane. But, to each their own. Sightings breed sightings, said the renowned UFO researcher from Halifax. Recent events may have Canadians changing their tune. American fighter jets took down a UFO over the northern coast of Alaska on Friday, one over central Yukon on Saturday, and another over Lake Huron on Sunday. The flurry of close encounters followed what officials said was a Chinese surveillance balloon that floated across the continent 2 weeks ago and was shot down off the coast of South Carolina. It was off the coast of South Carolina. I'm sorry, I don't know why I have to do that all the time whenever it's the southern states. I really just only do not like Indianapolis. Anyway, while it's not clear where the objects came from or who might have dispatched them, the prevailing theory at the moment is that they were benign, posing only a threat to passing civilian aircraft, the White House said this week. Which again makes some people go, well, why did you shoot them down then? I'm just saying, they're still looking for the remnants of the object, apparently. It is a suspected balloon. Government officials on both sides of the border have stated there is no indication the objects were the work of aliens or extraterrestrial activity. And that is the other thing, is just because something is a UFO, it does not automatically equate to aliens. A lot of people do that, but that's not obviously what it always means. Technically, the Chinese balloon was also a UFO for a while. Recent data from Google Trends points to people's innate curiosity about interplanetary visitors and the world beyond Earth. On Saturday, UFOs were the third most searched topic in Canada, with more than 100,000 searches. The following day, it dropped down to 13th place, while the term aliens has been trending steadily in Canada's north since Sunday. Ratowski said every year there are well documented cases from good observers that go unexplained, but it would be presumptuous to say those are from outer space and extraterrestrials. There probably is life out there somewhere, and somewhere out there, they might have developed the ability to travel between the stars. We don't have any proof of that, but the probability is never zero. I felt like that's how that needed to be read. In academic circles, the notion of studying this phenomena has been taken more seriously after details about the Pentagon's UFO program were discovered in 2017, said Paul Kingsbury, a professor in the Department of Geography at Simon Fraser University. Oh, look, it's Justin Trudeau. While the US has made coordinated efforts to document this issue, there is a disconnect on the Canadian side, Kingsbury added. Because maybe we're just smarter. I don't know. We don't have the southern states here. I always thought maybe that was why. Apparently, BC is our southern states, though. Again, we'll get into that. He said it's important for the Biden administration and Canada to work transparently with the scientific community so that academics can access information and data that will help address the problem of identifying these objects. Here's the thing, if this is for real, then they have been hiding it from the entire scientific community this whole time. So I agree. It would be about time that they, let the scientific community in on it. Hello, Guru. Good to see you. Hope you are well. Yeah, it's target practice. I mean, it's not a bad target practice. If you're going to do a live target practice, it might as well be towards UFOs. Let's be real. Maybe you'll hit another Chinese balloon. Can't all be bad. So again, they are the ones that have been keeping it from the scientific community. So yeah, if there is proof of aliens or of certain UFOs that we just haven't been able to identify yet, and the government knows what's going on, they do need to let the whole scientific community know. It's about time, because until they do, I will not be able to believe that they're real. Okay, I just won't be able to. It would allow the public to more fully understand what these objects are, their nature, what is causing them, and the consequences of the many reports of these anomalous objects in our skies. As Canadians continue to navigate global unrest associated with the COVID-19 pandemic, climate disasters, and wars overseas, messaging shrouded in mixed messages and mystery can leave people feeling anxious. And I think that's fair to say that a lot of people are anxious about what's going on, even in terms of the Chinese balloon saga. Just say, being transparent wherever possible is also important for people's peace of mind. I don't know. I feel like if the government does know something that they are not telling us, they should tell us. Because maybe in this case, fear of the unknown is what is the real big fear here. Just, what I am thinking. Now, this here is the Chinese balloon. This is what it was. It's a picture of it. Darlene Redwoods was bird watching a few weeks ago when she looked up and saw a large object hovering in the sky. Over southeastern Saskatchewan, the second time she says she's seen an unidentified object in the air over White Bear First Nation. I want to know how come everyone else gets to see it more than once and I haven't even seen it once. I think it's very unfair. It was balloon shape, said Redwoods. A really huge balloon with something hanging from the bottom. She said she saw a similar object in May last year. At first, she said, she and her husband thought the recent sighting might be a weather balloon, but we've seen what those weather balloons look like, and the bottom didn't match up. She didn't think much of it, other than to tell her sister-in-law, who sits on the band council. But after reports of 4 objects shot down by the United States from the air this month, including a Chinese spy balloon, more people like Redwoods are coming forward to report UFO sightings, although not necessarily current ones. Right? So here we have, I can tell you, since the whole balloon thing, we've been having a steady, constant stream of UFO reports being submitted to us, says Chris Rutkowski, who is a volunteer, has been compiling research for the annual Canadian UFO survey since 1989. So long he's been in this business for. There's a media effect such that people will feel comfortable and not as afraid to admit they've seen a UFO, he says, and will talk about things that they've seen years ago and were hesitant to report back then. Or they will make up that they saw these things years ago so they can get in on the good old fun, you know. Hello, squids. We live in large cities, Beth. We do. I do. So do you, but yes, I do. So again, is it that people are just no longer hesitant to report, or are they making these stories up? And they know that if they make this story up and they claim it was from years ago, it'll be harder to fact check. I'm just saying. If you say you saw something yesterday, people can look into it. You say, oh, yeah, 10 years ago, I remember I saw a UFO. People just got to take your word for it. Am I right? About 92% of sightings reported to the UFO survey can be explained, and that is according to a network of volunteers. Some turn out to be large number 1s or number 5s, helium-filled party balloons floating across the sky, or airplanes that look to be cigar-shaped objects because the wings aren't visible from the ground. Here he is here. As you can see, he has all kinds of UFO and alien Area 51 stuff. Dude's obsessed! But it's the other 8% that open a door possibility for Rutkowski, who has written numerous books on UFOs, many of them that you can see behind you there. Maybe I should get a hold of one. We should read through it. That could be fun. Let me know if you want me to do that. I'm enjoying doing some Eckankar book reviews and modern alternative mama book reviews, you know. I am the alien. Zach, you are not an alien. There are cases that don't seem to be balloons or jet contrails or weather balloons or whatnot. There are reports that come in from people that seem to be truly mysterious, he says. And whether that means we need more information or we need more investigation or more access to the information remains to be seen. So, the UFO survey is a compilation of sightings in Canada from official sources such as NORAD, which is the North American Aerospace Defense Command, and by pilots to Transport Canada, where they are included as part of its Civil Aviation Daily Occurrence Reporting System, or CADRS, a record of aviation incidents and accidents. Apparently, between 2016 and 2020, there were 2,174 reports of foreign object debris made to them. Sightings are also reported directly to the Canadian UFO Survey or provincial volunteer organizations and are investigated by a network of research volunteers across the country. The survey is just a way to try to understand what it is that people really are seeing. Things in their imaginations. It's true. He's a super freak. Super freak! Super freaky! Hello, Auntie. You knew that I was going to sing that, right? Super freak! Super freak! Sorry. In 2022, so again, last year, there was a slight increase in reports of UFO sightings over the year before due to multiple reports from the same person in Quebec. This damn bitch in Quebec just reports like 40 friggin' UFO reports, just brings our numbers up. It's all this person's fault. But I guess even with that, the number of UFO sightings in 2021 and in 2022 were far below what has been reported annually for the past decade. So I was actually really excited. I knew about them being lowered. I believe I talked about this even on my stream that I did about aliens about a year or so ago. I believe it was about that long. God, time is just moving so weirdly lately. But I talked about how not as many people have been reporting in the last little while, so I was kind of excited thinking that maybe people weren't believing in such nonsense anymore. But here we are. Here we are a year later, and I am about to cry. One of the most interesting from September of last year, says Rotowski, is a report from witnesses who watched a group of bright lights stationary above the trees along the horizon around 7 p.m. in Saint Martin, Quebec. The report was investigated by a provincial UFO group of volunteers, Association Québécoise d'UFOlogie. Although the lights appear to be in the sky, Rutkowski says it's possible that they were on the ground and it's just an illusion. That's one possibility, he says. But as far as we know, it's still something that was moving in the sky. My whole thing is, how do we not know? Do better investigation, would ya? All right, and there's some apparent UFOs right there. That's it. Some lights. These two are crashing, I guess. Just saying. Often, though, it's fairly easy to identify what people are seeing. In the past few weeks, viewers reported seeing a light moving west to east, followed by numerous lights along the same path, like a string of pearls crossing the sky, says Rotowski. The lights are on satellites, he says, part of Elon Musk's SpaceX satellite internet service. So if you see that, blame Elon Musk. No, I don't remember that. Where's Gray Alien Vaughn took a shot at when you need one? So as long as he doesn't bring Vaughn, we're good. I just don't want Vaughn Hilton here, okay? We just don't need that. This is not a lol cow collab. One of the most common sightings are of vapor trails from planes, which appear as bright yellow or orange objects when they are illuminated by the rising or setting sun. So again, that's something that can be explained. That's apparently chemtrails. If you ask CC from Westchester County, New York, he'll tell you that those are the chemtrails. They're dropping chemicals on us from the sky. The trail can hang in the sky for some time, says Rotowski, and appear to viewers as if it's moving very slowly. I wonder what CC would say about somebody that believes in a ufologist saying this. CC, let me know. I know you watch me. Occasionally, there are UFO reports that turn out to be weather balloons, which that happens sometimes too, which China claimed was the type of balloon that had been shot down by U.S. military. But again, they don't need to have a weather balloon in the U.S. They're not given the weather on the U.S. There would be no reason for China to be flying a weather balloon anywhere over the U.S. ever. That explanation was rejected by U.S. officials who called it a surveillance balloon. I mean, they should have gone with something better than a damn weather balloon because, like I said, there's literally no reason why it would be that. Yes, chemtrails! Then they let us know that Canada sends 2 weather balloons up each day from 30 stations across the country. The balloons are visible from the ground on a clear day, and they can travel 300 kilometers depending on winds. So, maybe you're seeing that. Just keep that in mind, Canadians. Environment Canada says its Media Relations Department receives routine requests on weather balloons all year, as does its Public Inquiry Centers, which answers questions from the public by phone or email. So if you ever do have a question, call the Public Inquiry Center in your area. They'll be able to let you know. But this is what a weather balloon looks like here. Rotowski, who has degrees in astronomy and education, so, he must know all about UFOs, I guess, has donated more than 20,000 UFO reports and his entire library of books, journals, and articles to the University of Manitoba, where the items are available for research. Now we know what's wrong with Manitoba. I'm joking. The UFO reports will eventually be digitized, but that process will take a while. Let me know if you need an IT tech to come do it for you. I'll do it. I like doing that. According to a university spokesperson, Witowski says he believes that one day the world might see a UFO that turns out to be more than a purported weather balloon blown off course. This guy's over here like, one day, we will see a real alien UFO. That's right. We will get them. Whoa! I think that's funny that that's what he's hoping for. Then he says, I certainly believe that there's probably life out there somewhere. I don't know why I'm doing this like William Shatner. It's just the vibe, you know? I certainly believe that there's probably life out there somewhere. And given the preponderance of life out there might be a civilization that's figured out how to travel between the stars, he says. And there's also a certain bit of savior mentality to his belief, he says, explaining that the earth is so messed up right now between climate and politics and war and everything else. It would be so nice if there were aliens out there who have figured out a way to solve all of those things and might come to Earth and reassure us that it's going to be all right. That this guy should just join Scientology. Join Scientology. That you would seem like you would get along very well with it. I'm just saying, just maybe do that, sir. That is what you need to do. So yeah, they're claiming that there are real aliens out here. That's what's going on. They can break through the glass dome. They can't break through, sorry. Sunny handycams used to artifact and movement like crazy. People thought they were capturing alien drones. They were mostly dragonflies. My dipshit boyfriend used to waste so much digitape looking for alien drones or cryptids. Oh no, that's awful. This was 1996 and 1999, the sky fishing years. Yes, I should actually cover that sometime. That'd be funny. I'm in Winnipeg. There's lots that is wrong here. I've been to Winnipeg. I like Winnipeg, Manitoba, though. I actually went to Canadian Mosaic 99 back in 1999. The world's worst Girl Guides trip ever in Winnipeg, Manitoba, due to a tornado flood and a death, actually, in a mini plane. You can look that up. Reading a fanfic voice. Yes. There is, however, a reason, Squids, why I have been picking on Manitoba. I do promise you there's a good reason. I'm not just out here being mean. I promise. The reason why I am picking on Manitoba is because of this. Spy balloon, meteor, or UFO? People have been spotting objects in the sky for decades, and in 2022 alone, Canadians reported 768 UFO sightings. Internet searches for the term UFO have increased by 1,150% increase across the country, too. A recent survey by Bonus Finder Canada found that BC, British Columbia, saw the second highest number of alleged UFO sightings in Canada. What's wrong with you, BC? Don't worry, we're going to make fun of me too in a second, I promise. The study analyzed data from the National UFO Reporting Center State Report Index and used records from 1998 and onward. Ontario! What the fuck is wrong with you, Ontario? Huh? What is this? We came in first, by the way. First. Yep, no, I'm over here. I'm ripping up BC, but only because I'm in Ontario where we came in first. Ontario reported 2,416 UFO sightings, each lasting an average of 14.42 minutes. What are you guys doing that you have almost 15 minutes to just sit around and watch a parent UFO? I'm way too busy. Let's see them aliens. Hashtag Rain Area 51 2023. Hashtag they can't stop us all. All right. Well, Paul and Natosi, I'm going to go get a goddamn astronaut costume. You dress up like a space girl, and we are going, Shaw. Let's go. Let's go. We will make the news. I promise. So, yeah, we apparently in Ontario had the most UFO sightings, like, last year. Okay, this is a problem. BC did come in second with 1,163 sightings, which is like half of ours, by the way. So, like, what are you doing? It's not even half. Like, what are we doing, Ontario? What are we doing? However, the encounters lasted an average of 22 minutes. In BC, apparently you don't have much to do other than, like, sit around and, just watch UFOs. All right. An alleged sighting dated April 22nd, 2022 was described by a resident traveling along the highway between Duncan and Ladysmith who saw two large square crafts blinking red and green. The alleged sighting lasted 15 minutes. Another recollection states that a person saw two UFOs hovering in their backyard at around 40 or 50 feet high. Overall, Canada ranks second among countries with the most UFO sightings, with Canadians reporting 5,696 sightings. USA took first place because of the southern states, I often say, with a staggering 126,094 sightings being reported. So as you can see, we obviously are having some major problems here in terms of basically the UFO sightings. I don't know if they are all sightings. I have talked about this before where basically it's just like are they actually sightings or are they just people seeing like random shit? You know what I mean? And the funny thing is that in Manitoba specifically, unfortunately, there was actually a decrease in the UFO reportings until they saw the Chinese balloon as well. And now Manitoba squids is reporting almost as many sightings as the rest of us are. And I am like, no, what are you doing, Manitoba? Stop that. You do not want to be like Ontario and BC. This is awful. Because according to all of the data, Manitoba, up until like right now, was one of the only places that had like I think they lowered by I believe it was 46% before this year in terms of their sightings, and now it is starting to skyrocket again. So it's not just Ontario or BC, but apparently all over Canada, we are all just seeing UFOs now. So here's the thing, are they UFOs? Or, again, are they just things that we're seeing in the sky, like weather balloons or like the northern lights, for example, or things like this that we maybe just don't realize what they are at the time. And then we go, oh my God, we are seeing aliens. Does this whole Chinese balloon thing then make it so that people see them more because they are all anxious and on high alert? And I feel like if you're anxious and in high alert for something, the chances of you seeing it could be greater, right? You're going to be looking for it more. So then that begs the question, are people seeing more of them because they are just looking for them more and therefore noticing them more often? Or are they seeing more of them because there are more of them? Or are they seeing more of them because they see that it's trending number one in Canada over the last few weeks, and aliens is still trending in Canada right now. And so they just want to kind of jump in and be a part of something, which is why, like I talk about, a lot of people are into the flat earth theory and a lot of these other sort of conspiracy theories, if you will, out here. They want to be a part of something that they feel makes them different than everyone else, right? So it's like, is it a little bit of that? Or, hey, is it all the above? Again, this is something that I guess we will just have to wait and see. I personally, being the STEM minded woman I am, I cannot believe that UFOs are all from extraterrestrials just because my skeptic mind says that's not true. But even if they are, I'm kind of like, but why? And if we do have reasons like that they're being hidden from us, I would also like to know what that is. Because I find it very hard to believe that the government has all this information that aliens are real and they just don't want to let the scientific community know to help them prove it. It would make no sense with everything going on right now, I guess, to still keep it a secret, which is what people are kind of, saying right now. They're saying, look, governments, you're shooting things out of the sky. Not all of them have been these Chinese balloons. Now we don't even know if that was a Chinese balloon. Do we have proof that was a Chinese balloon? There's some people questioning it. I'm just saying. And they're saying if you do know information, you need to let us know. The other thing is, like I also wanted to pose in this stream as a question, did this get handled properly? Should we be out here just pew shooting things out of the sky that we see that we cannot identify? Could that be an issue in its own? Do you think that Justin Trudeau and Biden handled all of this properly? Do you think there would have been a better way that they handled it? I want you to let me know all of that as much as you can down below at the end of this because I got to call it a night. But I did have a lot of fun going over this with all of you. After a case of Labatt's, it looks like a UFO. Anything can, right? Oh, it's totally fine. Just let me know, Squids, if somebody in that area, okay, actually sees one. And if you actually see one, just get it on camera for us. Shaw says she's just anxious and high in Florida. So, she's Florida girl. When they can break the laws of physics, then we'll talk. And see, that's also my issue, right? I watched Laser on Joe Rogan last night. I believe what that guy says. He's been proving right about many things that everyone said was crazy in the early 90s. I mean, that's fair. You're allowed to go and believe whatever you want. There's a lot of questions with this that even the science community are now asking themselves, are we wrong about aliens? Which honestly, the scientific community has always been a little bit split on that because those that study space have often said, we don't know what's out there. It's way too big for us to actually have a definitive answer on this. And I've always taken the stance of, it's possible that something else is out there. I mean, I don't, not so egotistical that I'm sitting here thinking we're the only species in the whole entire universe. But again, the universe is a big place. And in order for me to believe that they would want to travel light years and light years to come see us, to study us, we would have to do a lot more intelligent things than what we've done because I'm assuming that they would then be ahead of us with technology and the likes if they're able to quickly travel through space continuum in time. You know what I mean? So that's kind of my whole thing. But like I said, even the scientific community right now is kind of scratching their heads going, yeah, I don't really know what's going on. So I think it will be interesting to keep an eye on this. Like I say, I always will. I am here to look at these weird things like, are UFOs real? Are aliens real? What are UFOs? Did the government handle this properly? What are conspiracies? Is the earth flat? Is it shaped like a donut? Is it shaped like a banana? Are you a banana? All questions we need to answer. So that is all that I have for you today. I hope that you have all had a fabulously wonderful weekend. I missed all of you. Some of you seem to really, really miss me. I appreciate all of your comments and love. I will get back to all of the people that have written me that I have not gotten back to. I promise very, very soon. And tomorrow morning, we are going to be diving into the world of incels and Andrew Tate and really awful rap music. Because if you know me, you know I love me men that do some awful rap and are misogynistic. They're apparently my favorite. Have a fabulous, fabulous night, and I'll see you tomorrow. Mwah. Bye! And let me know what you think down below. Don't forget, damn it!
Good morning, Miss Crabtree. Sit down! We're running late! Damn it! He's still there! Don't worry about him. No, dude. If something happens to him, my parents are gonna blame me. Sit down back there! Ah! Yeah, whatever, you fat bitch. What did you say? I said I have a bad itch.